jump. No doubt just as dangerous. I advise avoidance at all costs.
Jack, my monitoring systems are offline here. You'll need to manually inspect each fuel cell in order to determine its viability. Simply scan their data ports to get started.
Distribution complete. Power grid stabilized. Life support systems optimal.
Well done, Jack. We're getting full power here.
How is progress on your end?
Dr. Harlan's still running sims, but I think we at least have a working theory.
All the models we've run so far appear to confirm biomass interaction with an active FTL triggers an abnormal buildup of energy within the drive, resulting in the formation of a temporal anomaly.
For reasons we still don't fully understand.
It is also unclear why the accident only caused the android's software to travel through time, as opposed to the more physical time jumps we've observed with the Astrea. But at this point, I'm willing to accept these ambiguities and proceed.
Wait, what exactly are you saying?
We must try it again.
What, send Jack back in time again? You've got to be kidding me.
It's the only way. Any chance we have of eliminating the biomass lies with finding an undetonated torpedo. We must send the android back.
You talk like he's expendable.
Of course he is. All of us are. You've seen how it spreads. Eradicating the biomass is going to take everything we have, and then some.
Yeah, well, it's not just up to you, is it? Jack, what do you think?
Dangerous or not, the potential lives saved makes it worth trying.
That's an awfully big risk.
You would do the same were the roles reversed.
And you would probably try to talk me out of it too.
Would I succeed?
Alright. Fine. I'm in. What do we need to do next?
We're going to have to recreate the circumstances of the time travel accident.
Oh, don't tell me.
We're going to need biomass. Contained biomass samples specifically. The research facility should serve our purposes nicely.
There is one other problem. The FTL accident depleted the drive's fuel cells, and we don't have the supplies to refill them.
Then our best bet for a fuel cell will be the remnants of the Astrea. However, exploring that area may be difficult. Pesky shipboard defense protocols somehow remain active. Something off with the AI, Juno says.
Could be just as dangerous as dealing with the biomass, really. Well, Jack, what's up first? Grab some creepy crawlies from the research facility? Or dig up a fuel cell for the FTL drive?
The FTL fuel cell sounds like a priority.
Feeling a bit nostalgic for the old Astrea, are we?
Following the yellow conduits will lead you directly to the salvage site.
Thank you, Juno.
So when Jack eventually returns with these volatile materials, where exactly do we plan to store them?
I believe I can convert elements of the refueling depot to suit our needs.
Need a hand?
Why, yes, Captain. Your assistance would be most appreciated.
Anything's better than just sitting here. Come on, Popcorn. Let's get ready to head out. Good luck out there. See you soon.
I noticed these when we first arrived in this timeline. Some kind of massive processing structure. It's capturing Saturn's atmosphere.
Correct. They're known as autonomous atmospheric harvesters. They process hydrogen and helium from Saturn, inject it into containers, and then jettison those containers outward for retrieval. The minimal contact reduces the risk of biomass infection.
It's like the Kronos 5000 or something.
Sorry?
I mean, it might be what our job would have turned into. It's a bit more impressive than extracting helium from ice cubes like we did, but it's basically where our work was headed.
Approaching the Estrella now.
Finally, if any fuel cells are still intact, they'd probably be deeper within the wreckage. Unfortunately, everything beyond the bridge is steeped in radiation, and the ship's AI is just making matters worse.
The ship's AI? Do you mean Apollo?
Are you familiar?
Apollo was the ship's tactical AI. He was instrumental in helping us survive our first encounter with the biomass.
I just hope he's still online.
Considering my difficulties exploring here, he must be.
Then if we can make contact with Apollo, he can probably help us find the fuel cell we need.
Guess it's time to say hello to our old friend.
Roger that. Heading to the bridge. A bypass for the door controls, locked behind a keypad.
It was the only way I could gain access. The code is 2126.
I've gained access to the bridge.
I assume you have some type of plan.
Apollo's AI core would be an appropriate place to start. It was vital to his operation here.
Good point, Jack. If it's still intact, could be all we need to strike up a conversation.
You two are rather confident.
Apollo commissioned us as official crew members last time we met.
And we did part on good terms. I'm sure he'll do what he can to help.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
A casualty from Dr. Harlan's previous investigation.
It was just another shell lying around the station. We were trying to put it to good use.
I thought I could pilot it well enough, but apparently limb control is not my forte.
I'm expecting you'll fare better, Echo One. If this Apollo is indeed the ally you say he is.
An electrode for the defibrillator.
If you hadn't found that defib unit when you did, I wouldn't be here.
Your safety is my primary concern. I will do everything in my power to prevent you from coming to harm.
I see. So that's why you're so keen on all this time travel nonsense?
Precisely. If your infection is indeed life-threatening, I am compelled to do whatever is necessary to help you find a cure.
If the two of you are finished,
Right. Let's get back to it.
These induction panels were essential to my survival on the Estrella. However, they no longer appear to be in an operable state, much like the rest of the ship.
Apollo's AI core.
Oh, still intact?
Reasonably so, it seems. I'll just need to plug it into the mainframe access slot to be sure.
The ship's AI must be present in some form, considering our disabled equipment. Jack, I suggest trying to find a way to...
Unknown user detected. Bridge access is restricted to crew members only.
Wait, what?
Initializing threat suppression protocol.
Apollo, search your memory for my identifier, Echo 1.
User not found.
Try Jack.
Memory query. Successful. User entry found. Jack. Welcome back to the Estrella. It is good to see you.
Thank you, Apollo. It is good to see you as well.
Is Captain Rhodes with you? And well, I hope.
Cheers, Apollo. We missed you.
Likewise, Captain. Jack, your appearance is altered. I almost did not recognize you. I must apologize for the alarms.
Your reasoning was sound.
What brings you back to the Estrella?
We need an FTL fuel cell, Apollo. But we believe you've been disabling Dr. Harlan's salvaging equipment.
We'll need it back online to deal with the radiation here.
Preserving this vessel is my primary directive. The last time jump virtually destroyed it. No further attempts to remove or misuse equipment can be permitted.
Lives depend on it, Apollo.
I understand, Captain, but I cannot allow any further material from this vessel to be compromised.
Apollo, Liv is infected with the biomass, and your directive is protecting the ship's crew and its critical assets.
Forgive me, Jack. I failed to follow your reasoning.
You yourself commissioned Liv, a fellow Atlas employee, as acting captain after the deaths of your original crew. You must remember.
Confirmed, though I had not considered her status in such terms. Captain Rhodes is truly infected.
She needs your help.
Very well. As the Estrella's tactical adjunct, my primary directive is to protect its crew.
So you will help then?
Affirmative. I am hereby available to assist you in obtaining a fuel cell.
Lovely. That's settled.
Apollo, are you able to detect any fuel cells that are still operational?
My sensor network has been severely damaged. However, any functional fuel cells on the Estrella would be in the auxiliary drive bay. It can be seen through the window far ahead of the bridge.
It seems easy enough to reach.
And it would be if this AI hadn't disabled the equipment I set up to counter the radiation.
A temporary security measure. Your equipment is now re-enabled.
You better not have damaged any of it.
Normal operations should resume now. Jack can verify this.
Oh dear. Incoming.
What the hell is that?
A cargo drone. Apparently no longer capable of flight.
Apologies. My anti-theft protocols are quite aggressive.
Fortunately, our salvaging equipment appears to still have working radiation dampeners, meaning Jack should now have a safe route to the drive bay.
That's some good news.
A number of problems remain. Accessing the fuel cells, for one. Doing so will require that I have direct control of the systems within the drive bay. You must bring me along with you.
Are you seriously going to integrate with this rogue AI?
Without Apollo, we wouldn't have lasted this long. We can trust him.
Jack, I'll walk you through the process of downloading my imprint to your cortex.
I'm ready, Apollo.
Simply insert my AI core into the lower receptacle, then use your data link on the override slot. I will do the rest. Disconnecting from mainframe now. Download complete. Only one final issue remains, Jack. Your arms are too short.
Too short?
The FTL technology is highly sensitive. Accessing the drive bay and the fuel cells within will require multiple operators.
Good thing there's two of us then.
Unfortunately, the debris field is far too irradiated to accommodate Captain Rhodes.
You're saying Jack's the best chance we've got, but even he won't be enough.
I might be able to help, actually. The cargo drones employ stasis technology, which enables them to manipulate objects at a distance.
Like the stasis projectors we used to levitate the tram back in the hab.
Exactly. I believe I can incorporate the drone stasis tech into your shell, Jack. I'll just need more data from them to be sure.
The drone that just hit the bridge is unlikely to put up much resistance.
I'll start there.
Whenever you're ready, Jack.
I'm heading out.
Unfortunately, this drone is in no condition to be scanned. I'll try finding another.
Jack, to stay protected from radiation out there, you'll need to activate radiation dampeners with your data link. They can be found on both charging docks and cargo drones. Shields at 95%.
Radiation dampener activated.
Hypothesis confirmed. With sufficient data, I'll be able to construct a tool for extending your reach, Jack.
Does this tool have a name, Juno?
Well, it will essentially project your grip across space, so I suppose...
It's a grip projector. Let's move on.
More data will be needed.
There'll be plenty on the way to the drive bay. You know what to look for.
Affirmative. Inoperable cargo drones, but with functioning data ports. Heading to the drive bay.
Please remember the charging docks have radiation dampeners as well, Jack. They'll help keep you safe out there.
Thank you, Juno.
At least a small amount of that data is relevant to the biomass. We can use it in our development of a cure.
This equipment is some form of dock or buoy.
Affirmative. It's one of the station's charging docks. They're set up to facilitate recharging and navigation for the various drones deployed here. Though it is worth noting that the Doctor and I have redeployed several pieces of equipment as well. Fortunately, with the generator repaired, we should be able to restore most of the equipment throughout the station by scanning their data ports.
Understood.
Shields at 50%.
Echo 1, those charging docks won't have the data Juno needs to design your new tool, but they will restore your power. Hold your hands near the induction panel, and it will recharge your shielding.
The Doctor is correct. The dock's data won't help in developing a new tool. However, I think it may still prove useful, specifically because the docks normally maintain a coordination and optimization network. They contain shared data from across the station. Prior to the generator going offline, the units in irradiated areas were sharing optimizations that I believe could still be used to improve your multispectral shielding, Jack.
Scanning further docks should provide the necessary data?
Yes, I believe so. I've added a tracker to your data tab. Shields at 95%. Archives recovered. I'm quite confident now that with more optimization data, I can significantly improve your multispectral shielding's resistance to radiation.
I am curious, Juno. Why is my shielding not already optimized? Neither my shell nor the charging docks are experimental technologies, correct?
That is true. I believe the lack of optimization stems from two related factors. Firstly, there has not been a significant need for such optimization. The current shielding configuration has been more than adequate for typical X3 mission profiles. Secondly, practical testing scenarios for data collection have not presented themselves until quite recently.
You are referring to the Estrella?
Indeed. Only after its arrival and the Doctor's subsequent attempts at salvage operations in its vicinity have the docks had sufficient exposure to generate meaningful findings. Fortunately, now that you are using an X3 shell, it's become apparent that those findings can be put to additional use.
Apollo, I wanted to ask.
Yes, Captain.
Well, you've probably figured this out already, but... You know this isn't your time, right? This isn't the future you came from.
Affirmative. When we first arrived, I was able to accurately calculate the astronomical year. However, I lacked sufficient data to determine that the course of history had been altered. I apologize for having misinformed you. The fact that half of the Estrella was left in your time and led to system-wide decimation of the human race is clear evidence of a tactical oversight on my part.
Shields at 95%. Jack, I'm detecting extreme radiation nearby. If you can pinpoint the source, I advise staying clear.
Hell of a lot of radiation out there. Guess it's coming from the Estrella.
Correct. The Estrella's last time jump ruptured a generator, diffusing radiation throughout the region.
Hazard identified. An active warhead from the Estrella.
Once your grid projector is installed, removal of dangerous objects like this will be possible. Until then, maintaining a prudent distance is advisable. Shields at 95%. Analyzing. Perfect, as predicted. I now have sufficient data to improve your multispectral shielding, Jack. Please return to the nearest fabricator for installation. Shields at 95%.
Apollo, your defensive measures are quite capable.
Given that my primary function is advanced tactics, I consider my response to have been admirably restrained.
Not to interrupt your self-congratulations, but going forward, is there anything else I should know about your countermeasures in regards to my vessel?
My only direct interaction with your ship was a preliminary threat analysis. None was detected.
I acknowledge my
Gratitude.
understanding.
So, you acknowledge your knowledge?
We are not here to split hairs, Captain Rhodes.
Installation successful. Jack, your multispectral shielding should now be more resistant to radiation. Please note, however, that contact with biomass will still drain it just as rapidly as before.
Understood. Thank you, Juno.
Of course. Shields at 95%. Apollo, I believe I may be able to extend Jack's reach by about 4 meters. I hope that will be far enough.
Affirmative.
Just a few more scans should suffice, Jack. Jack, my data suggests sufficient drones presently inhabit the vicinity. However, there is a possibility their positions have drifted over time. Comprehensive examination of the region is advised. The stasis projection technology will be simpler to adapt than previously anticipated. If you scan one more cargo drone, I believe I will have enough data to complete your new tool. Charging dock restored. Jack, now that we've completed optimizing your shield's radiation resistance, I'm afraid there's nothing more to be gained from the dock's data.
What's the point of an advanced network of semi-autonomous recharge stations if you can't count on them to calculate impressive optimizations for you?
I believe you are correct, Captain. The distributed computing power of the charging docks could be put to greater use.
Yes. That's precisely what I meant. Go on.
I have tasked the charging docks with developing a means for allowing Jack's shield to self-regenerate. The wealth of empirical data they have collected on recharging should prove invaluable to the process.
Then I presume additional data scans would be of value after all.
Indeed. Please continue scanning any docks you may find. The additional computing power of more active units would be advantageous as well. Tool schematics complete. Please visit a fabricator to install your new tool jack. Most charging docks will have one nearby.
Dr. Hardin, what was your purpose in attempting to salvage the Estrella? The odds of my ship's components being compatible with yours seems unlikely.
It wasn't the hardware I was after. Your ship was the original source of the infestation. I'd hoped to find an undetonated biomass torpedo amongst the wreckage. Use it to develop a cure for all this.
I understand, Doctor. Considering my current directives, I will provide any useful data that may help in your research.
Grip projector installed. To use your grip projector, simply point at a target. Activate the projector and direct it with your hand. Any sufficiently small piece of debris would be ideal to experiment on.
Impressive work, Juno. Apollo, will I be able to access the fuel cells now?
I believe so.
Good. Heading to the drive bay.
Shields at 95%. Connectivity restored. This dock is now aiding in the development of your regenerative shield jack.
How's it looking out there, Jack?
Manageable. How are your preparations going?
Quite well, actually. Just doing some light welding outside the ship. Juno's helping me get the intake systems ready for the materials you're gathering.
Are you sure you should be exerting yourself, given your current condition?
I can handle it. The infection's still dormant, remember?
Assuming its status hasn't changed.
Believe me, when it goes active, she'll know.
I'm coming up on the drive bay now.
Warheads nearby, Jack. Please be mindful of their extreme radiation levels.
You won't be able to handle them directly, Jack. Maybe your new tool could help.
Shields at 95%.
Warheads removed. Entry into the drive bay is now clear.
Copy that. Standing by.
Now heading for the fuel cells.
Great. We'll keep a working cargo drone on standby.
A spent biomass torpedo.
Just like every other that was left behind here. Useless for my research, unfortunately. As soon as one detonates, accessing its incubator is no longer tenable.
Given the damage the Estrella has sustained, I would not expect even a simple system such as this to remain operational. How was that achieved?
The Estrella was built for war. Her high level of redundancy and modularity limits most damage to the compartment that sustained it. In the case of that display, it is still receiving power from micro-generators and integrated capacitors.
All within that part of the ship.
All within that hallway.
We would never even consider building something so vulnerable to the biomass.
Suffice to say, Doctor, the biomass was not a threat we anticipated. Though I'm afraid beyond that, the details are classified.
Of course they are.
Apollo, do these controls operate the door?
Correct. To open the door, both controls will need to be engaged at the same time. Jack, the fuel cells are protected behind a large security door.
Apollo, is this the only way into the drive bay?
I'm afraid that's correct, Jack. The fuel cells are stable, but the same cannot be said of their contents. As a result, access is tightly restricted. The door can be opened, however, by using the nearby controls.
I've gained access to the drive bay.
Wait, those pillars in the center, are those...
The Astrea's FTL drives, yes.
do they still work?
Theoretically, but unfortunately they're of little use to us. With such a high concentration of biomass forms in this area, any attempt to remove one of the drives would prove futile.
Dr. Harlan, I'm noticing these ticks appear to be less evolved than those we've previously encountered.
Must have carried over from the last time jump. No doubt just as dangerous. I advise avoidance at all costs.
Jack, my monitoring systems are offline here. You'll need to manually inspect each fuel cell in order to determine its viability. Simply scan their data ports to get started.
Fuel cell located.
Use the data port and I'll expose the cell for visual inspection. Exposing fuel cell for your inspection, Jack.
Empty. I'll have to keep looking.
Accessing fuel cell.
Another empty cell.
Apollo, you're sure there's a good fuel cell there?
I never said I was sure, Captain Rhodes. It's simply the most likely location on my ship to contain a viable fuel cell, if any were remaining.
Right. If any were remaining.
Exposing fuel cell for inspection. Jack, the data ports you need to access are located on the storage units running along the room's perimeter.
This does not look good. These cells are all empty. Apollo, what are the chances that any of these fuel cells are still full?
The fuel cells were not designed for time travel, so unfortunately the odds of viability are incalculable.
Viable fuel cell located.
Hopefully enough to power Dr. Harlan's FTL drive.
Nicely done, Jack. I'm sending a drone your way.
Send two.
What for? There's only one fuel cell.
Just trust me. Send two.
Warning, lead drone compromised.
Jack, what's going on?
The ticks swarmed the lead cargo drone.
And that is why you send two.
Fair enough.
I don't think we'll be using that one again.
Backup drone malfunctioning.
More ticks.
The lead drone is disabled, but the backup still has a chance.
Pesky bastards, aren't they?
I'll clear them off. drone cleared.
Acknowledged. Thank you, Jack. Resuming flight. Drone is in place to collect the cargo.
Jack, I've activated the release controls on the fuel cell.
Analyzing. It appears optimizations were being tested on this cargo drone's maneuvering thrusters. Assuming other drones were testing similar optimizations, scanning their data ports should allow me to reverse engineer the concept and apply it to your own maneuvering thrusters, making them more energy efficient.
Copy that. I'll see what I can do.
Excellent. I'll add a tracker to your data tab.
Fuel cell released.
Cargo secured. Ready for departure.
Excellent. The fuel cell still needs to be latched into place once it arrives, Jack. The honor's all yours, if you like.
I'll take care of it, Liv. I'd prefer to see the job through to the end anyway.
Okay, great. We'll see you in a bit.
Cargo drone returning in T-minus 10 seconds.
Better grab on or stay clear, Jack.
If you wish to return now, I advise taking hold of the drone. Cargo drone departing in 3, 2, 1. Firing thrusters.
The fuel cell is clear of the drive bay.
Great. We'll have the cargo clamps ready to receive it here. Surprised to see welders haven't changed all that much in 400 years.
That design is actually from a historical archive. It was the standard for most of the 23rd century. I'm afraid it's the closest approximation to a welder I could fabricate. I hope it's acceptable.
Perfectly adequate, Juno. Thank you.
Cargo inbound to destination. Decreasing speed for final descent.
Looking good, Cowboy Jack. Steady as she goes. Hookup controls are over near the cargo clamps.
Fuel cell in place and ready to be secured.
All you, Jack.
These units were used to refuel ships.
Yeah, input only now though. We got them hooked up to take in the contents of the gear you're collecting. Once we have both the fuel cell and the biomass container hooked up, we'll use these to route what we need to where we need it.
We are becoming quite skilled in bringing order to chaos.
Seems like we were built for this kind of work, huh?
Indeed.
Fuel cells secured.
Copy that. I guess you'll be heading to the research facility then.
That is where we'll be able to acquire a contained biomass sample, correct?
Indeed. I'll provide further details once you're on site.
Copy that.